Horror films are popular because people like to be unsettled. Viewers watch to see characters survive disturbing scenarios. For example, a masked murderer chasing after and killing people, which is a subgenre of horror, the slasher. But how many times can you make the slasher film? There are so many, and after watching enough, the audience becomes desensitized to watching murder. So how do you make a slasher that really gets under people's skin? You get more experimental and defamiliarize the slasher and death itself. That's exactly what Cecelia Condit did in her viral 1983 short film, Possibly in Michigan. If you watch this movie, your skin will definitely be crawling. And that's because of her mix of experimental, narrative, and documentary filmmaking, as well as her ability to make the film feel like an uncanny dream through distinct moments of choice that defamiliarize the situations the main duo are in. And I'd like to argue that makes this film more disturbing than many horror films that will just straight up show grotesque and gory imagery. I feel like I should explain some important terms first. What is defamiliarization? Defamiliarization is a technique that recontextualizes and reframes things and situations. If you look at something through a microscope, it doesn't look the same. It's almost unrecognizable. That is defamiliarization. But what really showed me the appeal and power of defamiliarization was Maya Deren's 1944 film At Land. It showed through visuals alone that you can tell an interesting story through symbolism. The story isn't explained, you just see images and interpret the situation. Because it is just told through symbolism, the film can be interpreted in different ways by each individual, and that's the beauty of it. I'd also like to explain moments of choice. This is a concept derived from V.F. Perkins' essay called Moments of Choice, about how different choices made by a filmmaker can create different feelings. The very breath of an actor can be made significant when the director places it in an expressive relationship with the other aspects of the scene. It can contribute to the effectiveness of the moment. Moments of choice can include cinematography, performance, editing, mise-en-scene, sound, etc.
Well, she put her poodle one time in a microwave oven to eat it. Yeah, to eat it? Oh no. No, 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 silly. To dry it.
First, I want to discuss the performances of actresses Jill Sands and Karen Skladany. They sing every word in a higher pitched tone of voice, even as they talk about the death of her aunt and her aunt's poodle. They are smiling and joyful. Also, their gestures are very extreme and cartoonish. This creates an uncanny feeling because what they are saying juxtaposes with how they are saying it. It feels like they're aliens, or something mimicking humans. Next, I'd like to discuss lighting. Usually in horror movies, there is low-key lighting with lots of contrast, but this scene uses high-key lighting, well lit and bright. This adds to that joyful feeling, devoid of darkness, while they talk about a disturbing and violent event, leading to more uncanniness. The uncanny effect is due to both the performance and lighting creating a mismatched tone between the dialogue and visuals, which makes this scene contrapuntal. Now, for the biggest part of it, editing. The scene cuts multiple times to footage of dogs, meat being cut, a building collapsing, and a picture of the interior of a house being burned. These are symbolic of what they discuss in the scene. The meat being cut, after being shown footage of the dog, suggests the dog being cooked. Furthermore, the building's collapse and photo burning suggests endings or death. All in rapid succession, we paint the visual picture of Aunt Kate and her poodle dying without it being explicitly shown. I also noticed through rewatches that a lot of what they cut to doesn't seem to be narrative work. It's more documentary. I know they didn't have the budget to be able to collapse a building for this film, so we know it's documentary footage. Mixing this documentary footage in here adds a layer of creepiness, a realness to a fictional narrative, which make them all the more disturbing. We can also talk about the mise-en-scene. Specifically the costuming of Arthur and his inclusion in the scene. He has that creepy mask with the mouth always wide open, but he is also added to the scene, teleporting between shots. We can assume he isn't actually physically there, as it defies logic, but the implication is that he's watching and listening to Sharon and Janice, probably from afar. The other scene I want to talk about is the break-in/confrontation scene with Sharon and Arthur.
I will cut your arms and legs off, one by one, and eat them. Slowly.
Why?
For love.
Why?
For love.
But love shouldn't cost an arm and a leg.
Performance-wise, Arthur speaks in this strange tone as he beats Sharon. He is more uncanny than both of our leads. This scene is interlaced with shots of Sharon acting dead, being cross-dissolved into shots of human remains. And remember when I said this film has documentary impulses? I can't tell you if these images of corpses are real, but they might be. My research was inconclusive. Let's just say, I personally think they are real. Not that Condit killed anyone, I just think she found photos of bodies and decided to put them in there. We also get shots of a worm squirming around a cutout of Sharon, implying her death. Through distinct moments of choice and the use of all three modes of cinema, Cecelia Condit created a film that defamiliarizes violence, death, and the slasher genre. It feels like a dream, one you want to wake up from.